Love and light, peace and blessings. And it's me, Catalea, your host, and welcome to Catalea's World. And today we have a special guest that I've been trying to get up in here forever. But he is a very busy man, y'all. He's a very busy man. Um, he's like somebody I've been knowing for a very long time. Since I consider him a little brother to me, and him and my brother are best friends as well. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody about you. Give everybody like your social media handles.
My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, as I like to say. I gave myself the name Todd Millionaire to kind of speak things into existence. Um, I always had a wealth mindset, I always had wealth consciousness, and I've always been taught to call those things and be not as though they were. You want to speak things over your life, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call myself Todd Millionaire. So started putting that out there, started branding that. My Instagram handle is actually at Todd Billion, Twitter at Real Todd Billion. And man, I went to college, which is where I met Serena's brother Gary, and I studied finance, but I always had a business mindset. We joined the same fraternity, and that's how I know Gary. Um, but I kind of took towards the business aspect. So when I walked into the chapter in the frat, I was already pushed into being a vice president. So I'm brand new freshman, and I'm the vice president of a fraternity on campus. It was crazy. I did the vice president role, a lot of responsibility, but it was just cool to kind of be thrust in responsibility of something that was already so strong, had a strong presence, had a strong budget, and I learned a lot. And then from there, I ended up being the president, but it's all business. So you're putting on events, you're working with administrators of the campus, you are managing the budget, you are networking with other chapters and doing things like that. And it just fit me really well. I liked it. My degree was in business administration with the emphasis on finance. And so after I graduated from college, I went immediately and started working as a financial advisor for Edward Jones. And there I got my Series 7, my Series 66 life insurance licenses. But I was trying to sell stocks in the middle of a recession. So what we're experiencing now, well, what we were experiencing about a year ago, where stocks were at like all-time lows and people are selling, panicking, although 2009 was way, way more extreme. I was the person out there trying to convince you to buy stocks after the stock market just got cut in half. It didn't work out. I was out there door knocking
Right.
in suits in affluent areas. And what I found is my ideal client doesn't fit their business model, meaning that they want 6-figure, 7-figure, they want those to be your clients. And yeah, you can make a living, but I kind of wanted to make a difference. I didn't want to just make money. I wanted to like use my powers for good, is what I always tell people. Use my powers for my people. And so ended up creating a company called Untitled Capital. We did a lot of work with people, allowing them to invest on a small level, gain skills, gain confidence, and then from there turned into an education platform, and then from there turned into like an online digital community, kind of like our own social media where we just discuss wealth. So yeah, that's me.
That's him, y'all. That's Charles. So, I really wanted to bring you on because it's Black History Month. I've been celebrating Black men all month, and I was like just thinking about how a lot of times you guys don't get the recognition that I feel like you guys deserve. They have all of these things for women, women this and women that, but we never really, you know, give our Black men the accolades that I feel that they need. So that's why I brought you on, because I wanted to highlight you for that. And I was like sitting there thinking about like, oh, let me get some. I wonder who I could get on my show to celebrate them. And I was like thinking to myself, I know some pretty dope Black men. Why do I need to search outside of the men that I know? So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for being a guest. And let's get started. I wanted to take it back from the beginning. You told everybody what you do right now and the kind of things that you do. what made you like really want to get started into, you know, the finance sector? I mean, I know you have several different businesses, right?
Right. So, you know, I think our parents are a really big influence in our lives, and I'm grateful that my mom um, was able to kind of guide me in the direction that I should go. And so, quite honestly, if I would have been left to my own devices, I probably would have majored in history. I probably would have majored in political science. I probably would have majored in like criminal justice. Because interestingly enough, I have a law degree. I didn't really go through my actual credentials. So, like, I have an undergrad degree in finance. I have a degree in law. I have a Juris Doctorate. And then I'm also about halfway through my MBA at Pepperdine. And so, I think in the back of my mind, I
Hold
always
up. Did y'all just hear what he just said? Because he said that really fast, like it was no big deal. He just said that he's getting his MBA at Pepperdine. Okay, that's a big deal. But go ahead.
right. So I always knew that I wanted to go to law school, just in the back of my mind. But my mom, she's a CPA, she's an accountant, and accounting and finance are very closely connected. And she said, you know what, you've always liked money, you've always liked business, you've always liked those kind of things. I think you should look into finance. And so I took a few finance classes and I liked it a lot. And then I grew to like it the more that I studied it. And so I would just say that I was kind of guided there. It wasn't something, well, you know what? I was guided there. And then as I continued to start like reading other books around like wealth and finance and business, I really became infatuated with the subject. So I'll never forget, I was reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, which everybody kind of talks about.
Oh, that's my book.
And
I done read that book like 10 times.
and he makes this point. He was like, so the way that you get rich isn't by working a job, it's by doing all those things, it's by starting a business. And I was like, wow, like I've always kind of been business minded. Like that's pretty cool that this is how you get rich. A lot of us don't know that. I think it's become more of a thing now that we understand that business equals wealth. But until I saw that on those pages, I didn't really put two and two together. I just saw that there's people who have jobs and they apparently live well, and there's people who um, have a business, and sometimes they don't show their wealth. But when I got into banking, I got to really see that those are the people that have the money, because you see their bank accounts, not just the tattered clothes they wear in because they want to be unassuming. So I would say I was guided there by family.
Right. So, I mean, it's so much I want to ask you because my mind is like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Um, I wanted to also ask, like, what made you decide the type of businesses that you felt like you wanted to start?
Yeah.
Because you know, I would definitely like to know that.
I would say that that's a really good question because in the beginning, I didn't just hop out there and start kind of operating in my lane. I've had a lot of businesses.
I know you did the vending machine
Um,
thing. Did you still do
right.
that?
So I still have vending machines. We have a truck. We have rental properties. We have the digital businesses. The podcast generate revenue as well. But like way, way, way back in the day, I started out selling candy. I was in middle school selling suckers and I made good money. I was like, wow, like I'm over here. I bought my own Jordans. I was like, this is so cool to be able to get the sneakers that I want and not have to ask anybody. That business got shut down by the school. And my wheelhouse was always working. I went to college and man, of course, we were throwing parties and that generated revenue for the frat. But I'll never forget Antonio, he had introduced us to this website. And that website would allow you to download the entire album. And it was called Boxed In. And I was like,
I
you know what?
remember Box did.
Yeah, I was like, I could probably sell these CDs. And so I started a CD business and I was downloading the whole CDs. I was burning them and I was just getting them out to people. I didn't really run that too long. We had a mobile car wash. We did that. We were going around going around and washing cars for people that we knew. And the goal was just to kind of save up our revenue and then reinvest it back into the business. I've always known that you don't want to like start spending everything just because you make it. You want to have reserves because the business is its own kind of organism upon itself. Left college, had a party promotion company. But the party promotion company didn't really fit the lifestyle that I wanted to kind of be around. From there, I had a necktie company, and it was okay, but that wasn't my lane. I'll never forget, I was at a wedding, and somebody said, "Hey, so like, are you into fashion?" I was like, "No, I'm not really into fashion. I'm into business." And so that company was called Hunter Todd Neckwear, and it I ended up letting it go just because
Yeah, I
it
remember
wasn't really
that.
my
That was
passion.
really good. I remember that one. Hmm.
Yeah. But what I did is I kept the name Todd. And from Todd, I threw on Capital. And I felt like I'd finally kind of found my calling because I had leverage. And so I started all these businesses that were just kind of all over the place. But when I finally kind of fell into the place where I had an advantage because I had a college education in finance, which most of the people don't. I
Right.
also had previously had my Series 7, Series 66 licenses. I'd also worked at Edward Jones. I'd also worked at Chase Private Client. I had, and I also worked in the family office. I had these unique skills that gave me an advantage in business that I could then leverage into the marketplace. And that's when I really found my footing.
Okay. Because, yeah, you had a lot of businesses, but let's talk about the businesses that you have now. Like, tell us a little bit of something about them. I mean, how many is it actually?
So each business isn't necessarily a mature business, but I would say, man, there's so many streams. So we have the online community, which is one. We have the digital courses, which is another. I do some consulting, which would be a third stream. And so that's just like people who reach out to me. They're like, "Hey, I want to ask you some questions about business, about vending machines, whatever." I kind of like I'll get on the phone call with them and I'll have that conversation with them. We own about 22 vending machines in
Wow,
about
that's good.
like 12 locations throughout Los Angeles County. We own a mobile barbershop that's in Atlanta,
That's
which
what
is kind of,
Raphael was saying. Don't
yeah,
forget the mobile
don't
barbershop.
forget the barbershop. And what else?
Two online communities. That's what
Oh,
Raphael said. You have
right.
two.
One is a mastermind, and then one is an options related community. And I mean the rental properties. So we own, I want to say, 5 rental properties right now. We Those are all in Michigan, and so we manage those from out of state. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
So, like, let's talk about your online courses because I was actually reading, the Forbes article, and it was just crazy because it was so much I thought I knew about you, but I was like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about you. But let's talk about these online courses. I think that's one of the things that really catapulted you, right?
Right, right. Yeah. So I learned a few things through this process. And I think that one of the most important things for people to take from here is that your business is oftentimes going to morph into what it needs to become to be profitable and to make money for you. So in the beginning, um, Eric Thomas, he had this podcast, I guess you'd call it, and it was How to Get Rich. And he said that you have to discover your gift, you have to refine your gift, and you have to give your gift away. And I think that's what directed me towards like finance. Is I said, okay, that's my gift. That's what I have that I can give away. That's what makes me unique. And so I started an investment club, and we were investing with people.
I
And
remember
I
that.
found,
Yeah.
right. And so we did that and it worked and it was great. But I found that it's just better and you can touch more people if you just teach them what you know, which is what a lot of people don't want to do because they're like, this is my knowledge and I'm holding on to it. And
Right.
if you want this knowledge, you got to come through me. And I had seen just the power of ecom. Like ecom is so powerful
Right.
because previously, in order to even be a business owner, you had to make the investment, get the storefront, get the loans, build it out, get a sign up, and by then you spent like 50 grand. Not only that, you also are exposed to the community. So, I mean, unfortunately, let's say you want to open up a grocery store and you want to put it in the inner city, you might get robbed, you might get like shoplifting, all these potential things that could happen. Ecom allows you to have a storefront that has self checkout. They check themselves out. No employees are necessary. You don't have to worry about getting robbed. You don't have to
Right.
worry about getting held up at gunpoint. You don't got to worry about being up because it operates 24/7. It's making sales whether you're present or not. And what the real key is making your content affordable. In the beginning of this, I had the same content, but I had it priced out at like $1,000, $400, $500. And I was like, well, if you see value in me, you need to pay my price. And I had a friend and I saw he was doing really, really well in ecom. And I was like, bro, you're selling your stuff for like $50, but you're making $50,000. So I was like, there must be something to that. Like, people don't just do things just for fun. But I've seen a lot of people struggle because they set their price way too high, especially in the beginning. And so I flipped it on its head. I slashed all the prices and business took off. But what was interesting is that product that took off wasn't even the product that I thought was going to take off, because real estate is so popular. Everybody loves real estate. We're all talking about investing in real estate, financial freedom, passive income, all that stuff. I created a bunch of courses. So every single piece of knowledge that I have, and it's a lot because I have 3 degrees or 2.5, as I say sometimes. Like, I know a lot of stuff. And so I packaged it all up.
Thinking about all the places you worked, all the businesses you've had, all the things that you do.
Yeah.
And it's, wow. Did you ever sleep? First of all.
I didn't take a lot of days off. But what I would tell people is, like, the product that blew up wasn't the product that I expected to blow up. And so that's why
which one of them made you a millionaire?
It will be the options course. So the options course was so powerful, and I had no idea that it was going to be this powerful. But the thing about options is it allows people who don't have a lot of money, which statistically would be African-American people. We're not sitting on, because with stocks, you typically make a lot of money if you have a lot of money.
Right. Correct. Mm-hmm.
So the people, that's why when I was working at Edward Jones, they're like, no, we need 6-figure clients. We need 7-figure clients, because those are the people that are going to make money. However, with options allows you to make money in the same stock market and start from a smaller amount. And the light switch flipped when somebody bought my course and they put like $100 into an investment, and they made $100 that next day. And they're like, bro, I paid you $97 for this course, and I made the money back the very next trade. And I was like, that's crazy.
Do you still do that? I'm like, do you still do that?
Well, yeah, people, I saw somebody just as recently as yesterday, because options are so powerful. Because what makes options powerful is it's an amplifier. And so let's say if you wanted to buy one contract of an Apple option, it's going to give you 100 shares, versus if you wanted to buy 100 shares of Apple, you'd have to probably put up about $2,000, maybe $20,000. I think it's selling at like $200, $200 times 100.
I think it's like 200. Correct.
I want to get let me get this real number for these good people.
I was just looking at that the other day.
So 200 times 100 is $20,000. I don't know too many people with $20,000.
Right.
But I do know a lot of people with $200. And so options are going to give you the ability to, let's say Apple goes up $10 per share. $10 per share on a $200 share is 5%. It happens all the time. But if you only own one share of Apple, yeah, you probably made $5, $10. You didn't make anything. Right. But if you own the contract, take that same $10, multiply times 100, your $200 investment made you $1,000. We live in an era most people don't have $1,000. And people were over here.
I did not know about that. I need to take that course. Oh my goodness. I'm so serious.
I would just say that if you have to be committed, because the thing about options is it's kind of take it or leave it in some instances. So with options, you can put up 200 and you can make 1,000, or you can put up 200, you can lose it all. But people have gotten really, really good at this stuff, much better than I am. Like, people have taken my content and far surpassed what I ever thought was possible. And I think that's one of the things about selling what you know, is sometimes we're arrogant enough to think that we are the end all be all to everything. And so many people have taken my content and then gone to YouTube or gone to somebody else's course and started layering knowledge. And I saw a guy, he made $500,000 yesterday in a trade. He might have put a lot of money up, but my mind was blown. I've seen people make $100,000 in a day in the stock market. I've done it twice this year. I did it, twice over the course of the last 12 months. I did it about a month ago with AMC stock, and then I did it when they released the COVID vaccine. I want to say in like after the inauguration or after the election, like the week after the election. But I'd never seen anybody make $500,000 at once. My mind was blown. And this guy, he is like an OG my course taker. And I never expected this. Like
and he took one of your courses?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I think that's what has allowed me to blow up, is that others have blown up off of what I've given them. I didn't just blow up. I didn't just do well. I put a lot of people in position to do well. And as entrepreneurs and as African-American people, we have to take like a service first approach, and we have to do things with allowing other people to win, like not expecting, because sometimes we're like, we want to get the benefit of the bargain. And I was taking an L. If I am giving you something that can make you $1,000 for $100, a lot of people aren't doing that. They're like, nah, my content's worth $1,000, bro. But that's a supreme value exchange. And if you want to scale, because I've sold the course, last I checked, it was like 20,000 times. And the crazy part about it is that pales in comparison to how big the market is.
You sold it 20,000 times? Yeah. Oh my God.
But the market is huge. Like if you look at the market, there's millions of people on social media. And that's why it's possible for all of us. You don't got to get everybody. You just got to get your 1%. If you can get your 1% in the options community, it's like 4,000 people in there. On my Instagram, I have 130,000 followers. I don't even got 1% of my group. Or maybe I do have 1%, but I don't have 10%. It's like 5%. If you can, like, I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we think that we got to get everybody. Everybody has to love what I'm doing. No, you just need a good little segment of people that rock with you completely. And if you can get a good 5%, your life could change.
That's crazy. So tell me, like, how did you go about marketing your course?
That's a good question. And there's a few things that I did that did really well. So in the beginning, I was just posting it like, oh, here's my course. Oh, here's my course. And then I was like, you know what? I have to show that this course is working for people. And the first person that I would show was myself. I was like, all right, so here's the course, and here's what I did with the information that I'm teaching you. And so I showed the screenshots of the trades that I made. I made some really good trades, made $1,000 here, made $5,000 here, did whatever here. And ultimately, I made like $20,000 trading options. And so I would never just market it. I would always market it and add the why, add the how it actually helped people. And then as I did that, people started sending me DMs. And they're like, man, I took your course. Check it out, blah, blah, blah. Man, I took your course. Check out what I did. Hey, I was able to pay off my debt. Hey, I was able to do this. And that all became my marketing. I literally just market other people's success. It wasn't about me. I literally put the focus on everybody else. And I think sometimes in business, we want to be the superstar, but you got to let everybody else be the superstar. And that's why what you're doing is really powerful. And I did it to get to where I am. I had a podcast, and your clout raises by bringing people on your platform that have clout. And so what I would do is I would just show other people. And I was like, man, look at them, look at them, look at them. They're winning. And people are like, well, if they winning, I can win too. That's their immediate thought, is like, if they're winning, I could definitely do this too. And so that was one thing. I definitely leveraged social media. One of the things that I think is important to a certain extent is you might want to utilize some form of scarcity, because if it's just out there, like, this is my course, they're going to forget about it, like, oh, I'll get it next time. Right. I'm not worried about that.
Yes.
I don't need that. And so scarcity, I think, works as a marketing tactic, because
like it's only available for a certain amount of time type thing.
Right. And so what I would do is I would run sales on a Friday. And Friday sales are important, and I would make it super affordable, which is one tactic. But also the Friday thing is a tactic because people get paid on Friday. People have money to dispose on Friday. And if you make it affordable on that day, when they got paid, they're like, I could kick you some money. One of the things that worked a lot for me is when the stimulus checks went out. When everybody got their stimulus checks, record-breaking days. And so, like, that's what the stimulus is really for. It's for business owners. Like, people get a stimulus check and they go and they give it to the business owner, which is great. I thought it was cool. I was grateful to see that people are saying, I created my own stimulus. I use my stimulus to invest in Charles's course, and now I can create my own stimulus once a week, however often they do it. The other is utilizing larger pages to post my content. And that's why I tell people that you have the world at your disposal. And so it's really affordable these days. And I think it's because it's a lot of us helping us.
Yeah.
And so I was investing in marketing. So I would pay Black Wealth Renaissance to post me on their page. I would pay Official Black Wall Street to post me on their page. Black Wall Street 2 started Black Business. All these companies to post me. It cost me like $50, $100, sometimes $300.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, but the ROI is nuts. You spend $300, you make 10 grand. And so a lot of people, they're like, I'm not spending $300. I'll just post it on my page, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, bro, like, no. The thing about it, though, is as you pay larger pages to post you, your own social media following grows. And so it benefits you both ways. Because at that point in time, if you grow your social media following enough, you get to a point where you only have to market to your social media following.
See, now you dropping jewels to me, because I'm like, I'm trying to market my page, my
100%.
So
100%.
Yeah.
So it's a lot that goes into it, but I would tell people that as an entrepreneur, one thing that I had to learn is your only job is marketing.
Right.
A lot of us think that your job is to be the person doing the tax return. Your job is to be the person fixing the iPhones. Your job is to be the person teaching the course. And that's what makes digital courses so powerful, is everything is automated. So the person goes to the website, they peruse around, they buy it, it checks them out, they send them the email. I'm not even involved. So my only responsibility is market, promote. And so one of my ventures before this, I used to file LLCs for people. I would help people if they want to start their own company.
Yeah, I remember you did that too, yeah.
And I would have to do everything. And I was like, man, how much more money could I make if I didn't have to do all this back end work? Okay, here's your document. Send me all your information so I can submit it. And let me follow up with the state to see if they got it. And so I finally got to the point where my only responsibility was to market. And I think that all that played a part, because I feel like everything that you do builds on each other. And so there's so many things that I do in this business that isn't just courses. I got 2 podcasts. I have a blog. I have social media that is really just me giving people helpful tips and tricks. I have or had the investment club for stocks.
Yeah,
I didn't charge any money for the investment club.
The first stock investment club, yeah.
Right. And so all these things kind of build on each other. They give you experience, they give you exposure, they build a brand, they make a name for you. And I think we're just getting started. I don't think we're done yet.
Man, I just like so much. Like, you make my head hurt thinking about all the stuff that you do. Goodness. You're like a walking machine or something.
Yeah. I would say one thing, though, that really changed my life was when my son was born. Mm-hmm. So there's layers to it. Like getting married, I switched up gears. Now you're responsible for another person. You want to make sure that she gets what she wants out of life. I think that is a huge life hack. It focuses you. It focuses your finances. It allows you to kind of take steps towards a level up. But having a son, like anybody who knows me knows that I kicked it into overdrive when he was born. And so when he was born, like a lot of stuff really got turned up.
That's good. And he's super beautiful, by the way. He's a very beautiful baby. So how does that work for you? Like trying to basically balance, business and family, because obviously you're a busy man. You know what I mean?
It's not easy, especially because he's so young. And so we're still trying to figure that out. We're still trying to figure that out.
Still working it out, right?
Yeah. It's like if I'm home, nothing gets done. Thankfully, I have a lot of systems in place that kind of run without me. Mm-hmm. But if I'm home, nothing gets done. But you know what's interesting is I don't really believe in balance per se, um, because this might sound crazy, but I don't think that my son needs me here up under him every day. He needs me out there getting it. He needs me out there making sure that I'm providing for him. And so I would say that like that kind of is the balance is he has certain things he needs and I can't get those if I'm not killing it. And so
Right.
he has his mom to be here with him every day, doing mom stuff, making sure he's nurtured, making sure he's fed, making sure he does all those different things. Um, that's a good question
Oh, you saw
because
that? You see that? Okay.
yeah, um, I don't think those go hand in hand because accredited investor in educational purposes only is I'm not an actual licensed financial advisor, so I can't give you paid financial advice. And so everything that we do is mostly it's teaching you what we're doing as opposed to saying this is actual advice that you can apply to your life. I don't want to be that kind of a guy because I'm not licensed to do that anymore. At one point in time, I was licensed, but you have to hang your licenses with the brokerage firm. And so ultimately, they go um, to get to that point again, but under my own license, under my own name. So that is the answer to that question. Um,
You guys can ask questions too, by the way, if you guys would like. If there's any questions that you have, you're definitely welcome to ask those questions because that's what he's here for. Um, I really wanted to bring him on because it's so much information that he has to offer everybody out there, and that's what my channel is about.
mhm,
Of course, you guys seen so many different topics that I have here, and I just wanted to be able to represent Black people in a way that fully reflects who we are as a whole, not just one part, one spectrum. So I have a lot of different topics that I have on the show. So you guys are more than welcome to ask Charles questions because that's
mhm,
why I wanted him here. I felt like Black men need to see somebody like Charles who is actually breaking the stereotypes. He's actually doing the work. He is a multimillionaire. He is a young man. He's not a like super OG or anything like that. He is the pure opposition of what the media, everybody says about Black men. He's the complete opposite of that. He's the reflection of greatness. And so that's why, I wanted to have him on here.
mhm. Yeah. So it's I don't know about work life balance. It's like Grant Cardone says, it's like I'm not really interested in balance. I'm interested in abundance in all areas. And so like when I'm here, I want to fully dedicate me being present. I don't want to be at home and focused on work. If I'm here, we shutting it down. Let's go play on the floor. Let's go fall asleep. I'll hold you while we go to sleep. That kind of stuff. So I would say that I balance in that respect. When it's time to work, we work. When it's time to be the dad, we be the dad. And I don't want us to cross over because I don't think that I'm benefiting him if I'm not fulfilling my work responsibilities and I'm pulling back to kind of be the dad, if that makes sense. And so, like, when it's time to dad, I over index on dad. I over index on husband. I over index on those, I guess, faculties, and then make sure I kill it at work as well.
Okay, that's good. So, Raphael wants to know more about the creation of the first stock investment club.
So I always tell people the the Eric Thomas quote because in the beginning of a business, it can be very tempting to not want to give. You want to take, you want to receive. You're like, now I'm in business to get my bucks, but you have to kind of create a brand. You have to create awareness of who you are and what you do in my social media because I really only talk about one thing on social media, and I'm always talking about business and finance and investing. That's it. I'm very uh, kind of like monolithic in that respect. Like I talk about the same thing over and over and over again, and in doing so, I attracted a lot of people to me who either had questions or maybe we could have the same conversation. And ultimately, I would tell people that a lot of what actually sparked it was the Mike Brown incident. And so Mike Brown was killed, and it was like one of many. Like he had followed a bunch of different killings. And my thing is, all right, so we always kind of do the same thing. We somebody gets killed, um, we protest, we seek justice. Either we get it or we don't. Most likely we don't, and then we go back to life. And I was like, something has to change. Like we have to start doing things different. And a lot of what happened, a lot of the conversation around that time is the reason why this happens to us is because we're economically disadvantaged. And so
Right.
from my mind, I've always seen that the wealthiest people invest. The wealthiest people have businesses. The wealthiest people own stock. They own real estate to do these things. And so in working in banking, I saw that a lot of families worked as a team, or a lot of communities worked as a team. It wasn't just some individual.
Mhm.
And I wanted to take that team approach and apply it to my community, because I don't think that we were doing that. We oftentimes operate as a bunch of individuals, even amongst our family, when we could be doing so much just by creating a family LLC, buying property, pitching it what we can, renting it out, creating the income, and then also capturing the appreciation.
Mhm.
And so with the investment club, we started out small, had little informational conversations, and we utilized an online platform service transparency, and we started buying stocks. And interestingly enough, that first year we did it was the year of the Obama election. And
Mhm.
so stocks were tanking. We weren't making any money. I think we might have been flat. And so that first year was flat, made no money. The second year was 2019, and we boomed. We made 47% ROI, and I was just amazed
Mhm.
because we had all these people that were involved, and we hit a crazy ROI. The average return that you're expecting per year is about 12%, and we did 47. I was blown away. Annualized is about 24, but still we doubled what people could expect. And we did it as a community, sharing ideas. It wasn't just like me telling people like, let's do this, let's do that. No, people were bringing in what they thought they liked. People were bringing information from their sector. And what I
Right.
found is it's not just the collective money, it's also the collective mind.
Mhm.
None of us has all the answers. None of us is as smart as all of us. And so we kind of brainstorm on different things that we can be using. We can create wealth just like other communities create wealth. And so that club grew and grew and grew to about 300 members. It was just super popular, way beyond my expectations. Everything that I've done has surpassed my expectations. So much so that I've had to kind of bring stuff down, like y'all chill. Like it just grows. And I would just say that that's the beauty of staying in your lane, because when you have like when I always tell people, like when you have your own lane, you can go deep in your lane. And so I wake up in the morning and I'm listening to a stock room on Clubhouse. I got CNBC on the thing. I probably fell
Mhm.
asleep reading the stock book, watching the podcast at the same time. I am immersed in this space. I don't know everything. There's a lot of stuff I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that I know that others don't know. And so for those people who are looking to get into business, looking to get into different things, I would tell you, get in your lane and go deep. Learn everything about it. Niche yourself into it, and don't try to be all over the place. Like
All
even
over
though
the place. Yes, that's my problem. That I think that was my like biggest issue. That I have so many gifts, and I be like all over the place, and so I'm not focused on one particular thing. So I have to
Mhm.
agree with you on that.
Right. And sometimes your things might be kind of like symbiotic, and so they might cross over. And that's why, like, yeah, people see us in vending machines, they see us in trucking, but ultimately that's an investment. We buy the truck, we put the truck to work, the truck cash flows. We buy the vending machines cash flow. We buy the homes cash flow. We buy the stock appreciates and cash flows. And so everything that I do is investment and finance oriented, even if it doesn't look like that. But um, yeah, so stay in your lane, because then you can also expand your lane. And so I tell people I got multiple podcasts and it covers the same stuff. It's all business and finance. My blog is business and finance. My Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff is business and finance. So
So, like, okay, so for the average black man who really doesn't have like a lot of money, a lot of revenue starting out, where would you tell him, like, just from your expertise, what direction would you point him into,
Yeah.
like, as far as being the most lucrative way to go about starting a business with very little revenue?
Yeah. Man, it's hard. Um, I would say I would say start with what you have, but be focused on the future and reinvest all your profits. I tell people that the best investors are your customers. A lot of us are looking for funding, we're looking for a bank loan, but Elon Musk, he needed to raise some money for Tesla and he sold flame torches, flamethrowers. And so, like, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, the early years of your business aren't the time to be taking money from your business. We have companies that never pay a dividend for like 10, 15 years. I went through and I looked at like when Apple started paying dividends, Amazon started paying dividends, Microsoft started paying dividends. They're 10 and 15-year companies. And so I would say that start with what you have. There's a book called The Power of Broke, and there's a lot of power in not having resources. You don't need to have a bunch of money to start a business. You just need to have hustle. You need to have grind. You got to be willing to not take days off. You got to be willing to forego a lot of stuff. Like when I was younger, a lot of people, they were taking trips, they were buying fancy stuff, and I was like, man, one day I'm gonna be able to do that. But my goal was always business. It was never a job. My goal, I just because I've seen it. I've seen the end result. The end result of having a good job is maybe 100K,
Yeah, it's
maybe.
not worth it. It's really not for me. You know,
Yeah.
I worked in Orange County, and for 6 years in the banking area, and I was pulling 12, 14 hour shifts, and I was barely getting by, y'all. Like, it wasn't worth it to me. You know, California is very expensive. And so it's like you put in all your time into somebody else's business, and then you're working all of this, you're missing time from your family, and then you're exhausted, and then by the time it's your day off, you still have so much to do because you neglected so much other stuff during the week while you're working for somebody else. So I
Mhm.
completely agree with you when you
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. I would just say don't let money hold you back. There's a lot of different ways. It's like Rich Dad Poor Dad. He says, don't say I can't afford to say how can I afford it. I'm a big proponent on teamwork. I think that if you team up with a bunch of people and you do it the right way, there's certain formalities that you have to go through. You have a contract, making sure you have those different things. That experience is going to take you far. Just the experience of owning a rental property is going to give you wisdom when you start trying to look to own your own rental property. Another thing is house hacking. A lot of people, for some reason, they just don't utilize this. But if you have the ability to buy a home and rent out rooms in that house, or if you live in a place where you can get a multifamily, live in one of the units, rent that out, you got to get to the point to where you have rent and mortgage freedom. Rent and mortgage freedom opens you up to the point where now you can take your job money and 100% invest it. And so I would recommend that. I'm not too big on, I want people to look at all the ways that don't include either kind of asking the government for like a grant or a loan or things like that, but strategically kind of putting these things together. Some of the best real estate investors are the people who don't have money. So let's say, for example, you're trying to get into real estate. You need to find a distressed seller and you need to find a property that's undervalued. If you can find a distressed seller and a property that's undervalued, you don't need money. The money will find you. And so you got to find a deal. You got to find a good idea. And the same can be true. The same can be said about your business. Like, I want you to find a business that could attract investors, could attract partners, and that's what's going to allow you to get over that financing hurdle. Other communities, they're not going to American banks seeking funding. They fund it through their community, and that's what allows them to go. But I think you're going to get really far just through hustle. The 40-hour work week is dead. If you think you're working 40 hours and you're going to be a boss, give that up. I used to work, man. I had a full-time job, I had a weekend job, and I was delivering Uber after the weekend job. And so like as much money as you can get coming in. And also when I was delivering Uber, I used to do a lot of like listening to podcasts. And so I would say educating yourself is really important as well. Podcasts are free. All this game is out there. So don't sleep on that game. The library is free. Don't sleep on that. YouTube is free. Don't sleep on that. So while you're trying to skill up and get the money for your business, you need to be learning up. You got to over index on education. You have to. I listen to every Bigger Pockets podcast, almost every real estate podcast. I read every real estate book I can get my hands on. I've read a ton of stock market books that I can get my hands on, a ton of business books. And so education is almost as important as the cash that you have to invest. Don't think that you're going to hop into business and not be educated on that space.
What was the name of the book that you said? Going Broke?
Oh, The Power of Broke by Damon John,
The
founder of
Power of
Fubu.
Broke. So
Yeah.
yeah, y'all make sure y'all cop that book. I'm definitely gonna get it. And so pretty much like what you're just, it's so much like you just have so much going on, like it's just like crazy. I really think you're super amazing. What advice would you give to people who are already into businesses and their businesses are kind of, failing a little bit? It's not where it needs to be and they're working hard, but they don't, what kind of advice would you give to those people? Because I know you like started, you like, that didn't work. No, that didn't work. And you just kept going and growing.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes in business, we put out what we want to put out instead of putting out what the market wants us to put out.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that person might be struggling with they haven't really found what the market wants just yet. And so they need to get back in the lab. They need to create and put out more things. Like I said, in the beginning, I had mostly real estate related content because I just thought that was it. That's what was popping. But you can create your own wave. In fact, you probably should create your own wave. I personally feel as though I'm responsible for this entire options wave that exists now. Earn Your Leisure, #1 podcast in America. Both their hosts took my course. They were on the Breakfast Club, and the Breakfast Club asked them about options. I was listening, Dr. Boyce Watkins, I listened to all this content, finance professor. He's getting asked about options. I literally created a wave on the internet, but I did it on accident in a lot of ways. And so like you gotta like, it's like they say, luck is when preparation runs into hard work. I've been working and I've been creating and I've been putting stuff out there. And so maybe you need more stuff. There's a book, a really good book called The 10X Rule. And so there's so many things that are going to expand your brand that you don't really see. The podcast, the blogs, social media, just continue to be in people's face. Like that's going to blow up your brand. Social media is so powerful for that.
So consistency.
I would say consistency, but you got to take whatever you're doing and multiply it times 10. Like you got to go. And that's why it was so cool when I saw that you had Antonio one day and you had Tokes like 2 days after. I was like, that's you need that sense of urgency. You got to be going in their face. You got to always be out there in their face. Because the market gets kind of bored. The market gets kind of
people get bored very fast.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Man, I would just say that get in the lab, continue to learn, continue to hustle, continue to put out more stuff. But you might need to pivot. You might need to get away from what you think the market wants and find out what the market wants. And then once you find out what the market wants, double down. Maybe even triple, quadruple down. You got to go in. Like, that's what I did. Like, I was pushing my stuff. But when I found out they like this, I was like, okay, all right. Boom, 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 boom. Every day, 24/7. I was pushing that, what I saw that they wanted and they were getting results from. And if you don't put out enough stuff, you might not be able to find what's going to get them results or what they're going to want or what they're going to like.
That's super good. So I'm not going to keep you long. I actually do want to have you back again. when you have some time. But what would you say, like, before you leave, like, what would be your closing arguments to everybody out there? The thing that jumps out the most to you, the thing that you would be like the biggest jewel that everybody can take away from this.
Yeah. Um, I would say that the black community needs your business. It's not just like, oh, it'll be nice, or oh, please support, or oh, this. Like, no, like I literally like I employ so many people. Probably about like 10 people depend on me. And and that's not even including the affiliates. Like I have people who are affiliating for me and they like depend on that affiliate income. And I have a lot of affiliates. And so you might think that like by you promoting yourself and you putting yourself out there that you are kind of inconveniencing people or you're annoying people. And I love what Nehemiah Davis says. He was like, your grind has to be annoying. One of the things I realized is like in the beginning, I would hold off because there's people that I looked up to. And I was like, I don't want them to see me promoting my stuff and them look down on me. And I had to realize like, ain't none of them paying my bills. None of them are going to send my son to school. None of them are going to take care of my wife and buy that new ring or buy that new car. So why do I care about what they think about me? Like I had to give that up and just continue to push it. But again, so many people are going to benefit by you getting put on. So many people are going to benefit by you manifesting your dreams and your goals. Like I'm able to reach back and create business for my mom and my sister, send her cash, create different things for them. And so like your community, it's not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Your business becoming successful is a necessity towards your community, and you need to treat it as such and approach it as such and hustle as such. You got to be out there getting it, and the world's gonna be made better for your success.
Man, I think that's super amazing because you know we're gonna close out, but I do want to say this right now. It's a lot of people who don't know that you know the black community, the melanated community, we make up about 1% of the world's wealth right now, and we only have what I'm pretty sure you would know this, but I think we have like 27 billionaires.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
I think it's only like 27 black billionaires in this whole world.
Raphael
And
knows the number.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Seems like Raphael is very well versed in everything. And so that is why I think right now, economically, it's important for us to do exactly what Charles is doing. He's actually starting businesses. He's actually, like he said, you know, a lot of people want to take their information and their knowledge and the things that they want to know and they want to hold on to it. But the idea is to give it out, to share, to spread so we can all grow economically. That's the issue that's within our community. So start those businesses, you know, grow, learn. Knowledge is important. Put down, close the book. I mean, close the TV. Okay. Leave love and hip hop alone. All right. Learn. It's very important that we learn. So I did want to say that. And I do want to say thank you so much, Charles, for coming on. You know, you're a very busy man, and I do appreciate your time because I know time means a lot to you right now. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. Hopefully, people found some value in this. If you are interested in any of the things that we have going on,
Yeah,
the link.
tell them about your courses and their everything, that just
Yeah.
everything. Hmm.
I was at that the links are in the bio of my Instagram, which are at Todd Billion on Instagram, at Todd.capital. Um, we're it's just amazing to see. Um, I'm kind of blown away, but I'm also very, very grateful for the things that have happened throughout this pandemic. A lot of us thought that the pandemic was going to be like um, the end of the world, but a lot of people made more money than they've ever made in their life.
Right?
And I
Hmm.
think that the pandemic really played a large part in a lot of the success we've had. And it's so funny because I think that's very typical. I think that a lot of times the wealthy people that you see made their money during a recession or during a crash, not during a hot market. But anyway, also check out the Tweet Talk podcast with Raphael Husbands and myself. We have about 80 episodes. I think last episode we recorded was like episode 85. A lot of really insightful business kind of conversations that we have on there. Also have the Thai Capital Millionaire podcast. It's actually now known as the Oglesby and Scott Show with my co-host Rachana Scott. She's a real estate investor out of Chicago.
Yeah,
We
I
have
saw
about
that.
100 and I think we have like 150 episodes of that. And yeah, just trying to add value. I think my blogs are really great and insightful. A lot of people get a lot of value from those. But
Where can they find those blogs at?
The website is oglesbyholdings.co. But I would just say, like, at the end of the day, we got to just look for the gaps in our community and fill those gaps. That's business. Business isn't like, hey, I want to sell scrunchies. Like, but does your community need scrunchies, or does your community need groceries?
Right.
Does your community need affordable housing? Does your community need daycare that's affordable? Does your community need after school care? Like, I think that as a community, we got to really start looking at the gaps. And I think that that's like the purpose and the why of everything that I'm doing is to close the wealth gap, a wealth gap that we all know exists. And I think that that is a very noble kind of endeavor. And so don't just start a business, solve a problem for your people. And I think that's what I got to say.
That is super amazing, Charles. You know I love you. You're like a brother to me. And I just appreciate you for coming on. And thank you so much. I don't want to keep you long. It's about to be an hour.
Yeah.
So
thank you for having me. Shout out to my son, Nolan Oglesby, for just being an amazing part of my life.
He's so cute. So y'all, so cute. Oh my God. So
thank you for the comments.
And tell your wife I said hello.
I will do.
Tell her I said
All right.
hi. But thank you so much. Love and light, everybody. Peace and blessings. I will be putting all his links in the description box of this video for the playback. So you guys are more than welcome to click on there. Just go on his Instagram, his websites. He has all the information that you guys can have. Purchase those books that he was giving you guys a reference to, and we are out. All righty. Peace, everybody.
See you.